Alright, so like I was saying before, I got this Miata with intentions of drifting with it, and I was a little concerned about the power and whether I was going to be able to drift with it or not. So I started looking at different options, some kind of do-it-yourself stuff, and I'd already planned on maybe porting the stock intake manifold, you know, messing around with the exhaust some, just basic little things. I haven't been able to find a good option for the intake yet, but after looking, I noticed there was coolant going to the throttle body, and I've done a coolant bypass in my other car, and it made almost 100 degrees difference in the throttle body temperatures after driving. So I'm gonna give you real quick. So I'm gonna show you the temperature of the throttle body with the coolant going through it after I've driven it a little while, and then we'll do the coolant bypass. I need to figure out how I'm going to route it. I haven't been able to really get under there and see where exactly it's routed to, but we'll see what the temperatures are after driving after the coolant bypass. And I know it should be a huge difference, and that'll help keep intake temps down, and we'll get more power in the long run, especially after it's been heat soaked for a while. Especially after it's been running for a while. So this is the temp of the throttle body after I've been driving it a little while. See, about 149, 144 degrees. And that's cooled down some, actually. It's bumping back up into the 150s because when I first turned the car off, it was in the 150s. So I went ahead and took the factory air tube off and got the throttle body off just so I could get a good look underneath it and see where these hoses were, how these hoses were routed and where they were going to. And you see those two hoses right there, that's the coolant barbs, and the coolant's running through the throttle body there. So I see where it's connected on this side. I'm not sure where it's connected down under there. I'll have to do a little more investigating. But I just need to figure out if I can cap this side here, or if that, you know, it goes through the throttle body and feeds something else. If so, I'm gonna have to get some longer hose, run it from here, just bypass the throttle body and connect it wherever it's connected down in there. And you can see the throttle body needed a good cleaning anyways, as well as the intake manifold. It's just all greased up. Alright, so I've got the throttle body off. Those are the two ports for the coolant lines. I've already cleaned that out real good. Cleaned the throttle body some. It was all gunked up. Now, I had bought a whole new hose to go from the port right here all the way around to the port up under the intake manifold. And it's hard to see with the lighting, but my finger's down here on it. And it doesn't seem like I can get to the clamp without taking the whole intake manifold off. And I do plan on doing that because I'm going to port it and clean it up a bit, but I'm not ready to do that right now. So what I'm going to do is take a barb fitting and just connect the two hoses that were already going to the throttle body. Now, I was a little hesitant to have a broken hose and just use a barb fitting. Didn't want any leaks, but this barb fitting fits in there pretty tight. It's pretty long, and I think we'll be just fine. So there's our connection. Looks like it's going to be a pretty tight connection. Shouldn't have to worry about any leaks or anything. And get the throttle body back on and see what type of temperature differences we get. Alright, so this is with the throttle body coolant bypass. You can see the little junction I made. This is the temperature of the throttle body after driving. So it looks like 110 degrees or so. So it looks like the temperature is about 113 degrees. Now that's a little warmer than my other car that I did this on, but I think it's because on the Miata here you've got the metal manifold connected to the head, and that transfers heat pretty good, and it's heating up the throttle body. But I do want to get a phenolic spacer for the intake manifold, and that should cool it down a little bit, but we'll see. So this is the temperature of the throttle body after driving with the coolant bypass. You can see the junction right there where I put the two coolant hoses together. So it looks like we're kind of all over the place, but we'll say 109 degrees. Now that is a little higher than when I did this on my other car. The temperatures were about 60 degrees opposed to, you know, almost 200. But on that car I do have a plastic intake manifold, so that doesn't transfer heat quite as well. And this car does have a metal intake manifold, and that's probably transferring heat pretty well to the throttle body. So I was looking at phenolic spacers, which may be a good idea on this car, just to keep that heat out of the manifold and the throttle body. So that's a pretty sizable difference. It's about 30 to 40 degrees than when we did have the coolant going through the throttle body, and it may be even bigger if I get the phenolic spacer.